Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's session for Foreign Credential Recognition and Atlantic Immigration Career Loan Fund. This is Rufaida Anis from the Multicultural Association of Fredericton, and I'm here today to give the session on the FCR and AICLF. So let's begin the session. So the agenda of this session, so what are we going to be discussing about the two main topics. One is the Foreign Credential Recognition Program that is offered by the Multicultural Association of Fredericton, as well as the Atlantic Immigration Career Loan Fund. So then we're going to have an overview of the AICLF, then eligibility and application requirements, and application assessment and approval process. So what is a Foreign Credential Recognition Program? So newcomers to Canada must have their foreign licenses and certificates recognized to work in some of the Canadian jobs. So not all of the professionals have to do it, only regulated occupations. Like if you're a teacher, we will discuss about the regulated occupation here in Canada. So most of the professionals from back in other countries have to be assessed. Their credentials have to be assessed in order for them to continue working in the profession that they are from. So there are a lot of authorized bodies within New Brunswick, as well as in the whole of Canada, where they are going to assess your credential based on your education, your language skills, and your work experience. So some of the regulated professions in Canada are as follows. Anyone from archaeology, architecture, certified engineering technicians and technology, certified general accounting, certified management accounting, chartered accounting, early childhood educator, forestry, geoscience, insurance broker, land surveying, law, professional engineering, real estate agent, social work and social service work, teaching, veterinary medicine, and any other health professionals, be it a doctor, your dentist, or a nurse, all of them come under the category of regulated professionals. And you will have to get your credentials assessed before you continue your practice in Canada. So I would like to talk about few examples for if you are a teacher back in your home country and you would want to start teaching over here. A lot of you before coming to Canada would have done your WES assessment. So this is similar to that, but WES assesses your education and your profession as a whole. But when you start off your foreign credential assessment, you'll have to do a course by course assessment of your education. So a teacher needs to have so many number of hours that they have to be working or that they should have completed back in their home country. They should have this particular degree and they should have gotten their subjects that they did back in their home country assessed by a lot of authorized body, a licensed authorized body. And then you'll have to do your examination. You might have few professions might even have interview, and then finally you would get licensed. So this process is going to be different for different regulated professionals, and sometimes maybe the subject or the profession that you were working back home would be easily assessed and you will not have to do anything other than just write a licensing exam. Some could be a little bit difficult where they do not recognize few of the courses that you've done back home, so they would ask you to do like a 6 months course, like a 6 months internship or a 1-year course. It depends case by case. So I would suggest anybody who are from any of the backgrounds that we spoke about to immediately get your credentials recognized in order for you to start off your profession here in Canada. So anyone who's interested to get your credential recognized, you can come to me. You can contact me in rufaida.anis@mcaf.nb.ca, or my phone number is 506-471-6394. So this is the Foreign Credential Recognition. Anyone from any of the regulated profession who are willing to continue working in your related field, please do not forget to get your credentials recognized. So the next topic that we're going to talk about is the Atlantic Immigration Career Loan Fund, or the AICLF that's the short form. So what is this fund is, it's like a micro loan. It's a community-based partnership to assist internationally trained immigrants by providing microloans to overcome financial barriers. So as I told earlier, so if you are a professional from your home country who needs to get their credential assessed, it's not going to be very expensive, but it's not going to be cheap either. And if you are a new immigrant, you might not have your credit score, you might not have enough funding, so that is when you will need the AICLF fund. So anyone who wants to become licensed in your particular regulated profession can access this. Anyone looking to advance their careers or improve their income and contribute meaningfully to the Canadian community can access this loan, as well as anyone who wants to find an alternate or a new career which is unrelated to their credentials. Like, for example, if you are a teacher back in your home country, but you come here and you find that you are more interested to do something related to IT. So we have a lot of the community college or a lot of courses which offer you a one-year IT course. Like, for example, like on top of my mind, I can think about cyber security. So that would be like a one semester or a 2 semester, depending on what you want to do. So you can pick and choose. So it's completely a different field from what you've done earlier. So anyone who still wants to do that can still access the Atlantic Immigration Career Loan Fund. So why microloans? So microloans have been proven globally to be an effective tool to assist people who are unable to access mainstream credit due to, as I mentioned earlier, lack of employment. So since you are very new to this country, it could take time for you to search for a good employment, and you do not have any recognized credit history. So as you all must know, you need to build your credit history to access any bank loans in this country. So anyone with no or very less credit history can still come to us, and we would try and work it out, and any lack of collateral that you have in this country. So who is eligible? So this kind of microloan is available throughout Canada. So we from the Atlantic region we have formed the AICLF. So for you to be eligible for the AICLF, you should be a permanent resident or an immigrant Canadian citizen. That is, if you've been here like 6 years back and then you've become a Canadian citizen very recently, you can still access this fund. You should be a resident of any of the Atlantic provinces, that is anyone from Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Newfoundland and Labrador, or from the Prince Edward Island. You should have immigrated in the last 10 years. So as I mentioned earlier, if you've immigrated to one of these Atlantic region before 10 years, and then you've recently become a Canadian citizen, you can still access this fund. You should be an internationally trained immigrant. You should have the required English or the French skills. So the foreign credential recognition that I spoke earlier, in order for you to get your credential assessed, you should have a particular English level or a French level according to the different bodies. Like a teacher might need, they might ask you for an IELTS 6 or 7, a nurse might have something different. So every body, every regulated field is going to be different. So you should have that English skills in order for you to access this fund. You should be a registered client with a designated immigrant service agency. So if you're from Fredericton, you should be registered with the Multicultural Association of Fredericton, or MCAF. If you're from Moncton, with Magma. If you're in Nova Scotia, with ISENS, and something like that. we have different designated immigrant service agency. You should be a registered client with one of those agencies. You should have no undischarged bankruptcy, which is I'm sure it's going to be very easy, because most of the people who are going to access this fund are going to be newcomers. So I'm sure that's not going to be a problem. You should agree to repay the loan with interest, as any other microloans or loans. You should be able to do that. And the loan amount that we are talking for this AICLF is something for an amount of up to $15,000. So the note below says that temporary foreign workers and international students are not eligible, unfortunately. So for international students, probably you could access your student loan and something like that. So anyone who is not able to access a student loan and who are permanent residents or new Canadian citizens can access the AICLF. So what the Atlantic Immigration Career Loan Fund we cover. So so the 15,000 that you would be granted could cover a lot of things for your program itself. So any professional registration fees for your studies, you need any licensing examination that you need to go, you have training and tuition fees, like as I told you before, if you need to do a short 6 months course or a 1-year course, for the training and for the tuition, the fees will be covered. Your living expense during the short-term training exams. For example, the living expense of up to $1,200 would be accepted. So around $3,600 for a short amount of 3 months would still be accepted within the $15,000. Your travel or accommodation to take exams, like if you are a resident from Fredericton and you need to go to Halifax to give an examination, your travel expense to Halifax, your accommodation expense in Halifax can still be included within this $15,000. Your book and study materials for your course, and tool and equipment that you would need, like some people would need a laptop or an iPad, so you could put all these expenses for the AICLF program. So programs eligible for student loan funding are not eligible for the AICLF program. So people who are eligible for student loan, so we would advise them to go with the student loan, which is much cheaper compared to this. Only people who are not eligible for that could come here and we would help you out with the fund. So what is the cost of borrowing? The interest rate on this loan would be a prime plus 1, which is 3.95 plus 1, which is 4.95 would be your interest rate. So how and when do you give it back? So your study period. So clients pay interest only on funds released. So if your study period is for 6 months or for 1 year, and we would work on an action plan, and as and when you need the money, the bank is going to release the money as and when you need, according to the action plan. So if you have borrowed, like for the cost for like 3 months, if you've just borrowed like $1,000, your interest is going to be only for the $1,000 that you have, the funds that are released at that time. And as and when you get more funds from the bank, you will be paying the interest for the amounts that are released only. Now, after all the funds that are released, the client gets a grace period of 6 months. So for example, you finished your studies, the funds are released, and then the client gets a grace period of 6 months in order to find a job, in order to help themselves out, and then they start repaying the actual loan amount itself. And the client gets repaying period, client pays principal plus interest, and you have around 4 years in order for you to repay your amount. So we will go a step-by-step procedure. Again, this is just like I'm giving an introduction to the AICLF. Anyone who really are in need of this program, please do contact me. I will again show you the contact information at the end of this session. So the step 1 is you register with one of like MCAF, if you're in Fredericton, you register with us, and then you work with an employment specialist to prepare a return to work action plan. So as I mentioned earlier, we will one of the employment specialists will sit with you and we will work out an action plan with you. For example, this is going to be like, okay, my semester starts in fall, so I will need like a registration fee of this much at the month of October. I will need, something like that. Every month we go like month by month of what you will need, because when you enroll yourself in a semester, you will need, when you need to pay your exam fees, what are the book fees, all that you will find out from the particular college or university that you're going to go to. So we will sit with you and create an action plan, and then we will attend with you to RBC. We will go, RBC is our partner bank, that is the Royal Bank of Canada. So we would be going with you to RBC in order to submit your action plan. So the second one would be you meet with the AICLF coordinator. So if your return to work action plan is accepted, then you have an AICLF coordinator. In this case, it is going to be me. You will be sitting with me, you can talk with me, and we could complete the loan application. So we sit and do the entire loan application, and then I would be asking you for supporting documents, which we will discuss in the later slides. And once you do that, we could go to the next step. So you meet with the designated RBC account manager and assess the risk of borrowing and credit checks. So this is a very important step, because this is the step where the coordinator from MCAF or any other agency is going to accompany you to the bank, and they are going to verify all the documents that you have submitted to us, as well as check your credit, if you've had any bankruptcy, if you've been truthful in all the answers that they are asking in the application fee. Then the RBC will update the client and the AICLF coordinator if you get approved for the loan itself. So once you get approved, your microloans will start from the date that you say that you need the money in your action plan. So the step 4 would be you submit the receipts for the payment to the AICLF coordinator. Like as and when, like you've done your book fees, you've given your registration fees, you just submit all your receipts to us, and we would in turn submit it to the ARBC account manager, whoever is dealing for your case. Then we request subsequent bursals from AICLF coordinator. We provide AICLF coordinator with an up-to-date information on your study and repayment status. So this is again going to help, like for example, if you take an examination and if there comes a case that you need to retake the examination, again, you could come and talk with your AICLF coordinator, and we could include that, and we could alter your action plan according to how your course goes. And you need to accept to repay the loan within the 4 years. There is one more thing. If there is someone who's already started with your credentials, trying to assess your credentials, or trying to have started going for a course, and you want to access this AICLF fund now, you can still come to us, and we would still accept any receipts that you have with you 3 months prior talking to AICLF coordinator. So in case you come to me in the month of May, but you've already started your semester by January, or like you have started paying off something from March, you could still come to me, and that would still be included in your $15,000 if you are approved, that is. So what are the documents you do need to be submitting for this particular fund? So of course we need the proof of citizenship or your permanent residence, that is your PR card, approved return to work action plan that we will be having, the printed information about the training, exams, assessment or certification programs with dates and cost. This is going to be coming from the college or the university that you are going to attend. So we need the entire information of how much it's going to cost you for the entire semester or for 1 year, or depends on different cases. Your resume, So if you do not have a resume, we have employment specialists here with us in the employment team who will help you work on your resume. Your proof of English, French language assessment. So that again, if you've already had, if you've taken your IELTS, or that is going to be valid for 2 years. So if you've already taken the test and if you have the correct, the right test score, so we can still, take that into account. Copies of translated educational certificates, assessments of credential or exams that you've passed. So all these you need to be submitting. Signed client consent documents. You should have 2 reference details, a void check, CRA notice of assessment. So that's it for the AICLF. As I told you, you could contact me anytime at rufaida.anis@mcaf.nb.ca or call me at 506-471-6394. We are the employment team from the Multicultural Association of Fredericton. So anyone in need to get information on FCR, which is the Foreign Credential Recognition Program, or anyone who wants to access the Atlantic Immigration Career Loan Fund can contact me for further future details. So thank you for attending this session, and see you all soon.